So the new Five Nights at Freddy's movie just came out, and I might be a little bit biased, but it was pretty freaking good. And don't worry, half of this review is going to be spoiler free, and I will let you know when I get into spoilers so you can click off and come back after you actually see the movie. The first thing I want to talk about is the horror in the movie. I know they said it a lot, but they were not lying. This movie is way, way scarier than the first one. I don't think a single time in the first movie I got scared at all. I got scared a boatload of times in this one. Honestly, kind of pushing the bounds of PG-13. They were very close. They definitely leaned more into the horror elements of the animatronics, and I think that was a great decision because Five Nights at Freddy's is a horror game, and the first movie didn't really do that. Another thing you guys might be interested in is hearing how the voice actors are. Obviously, we all know Megan Fox and Matt Pat were both of the voice actors. Megan Fox got a lot of hate online when she was announced to have the role, and I think the whole internet owes her a giant apology because she was amazing in this. She did a great portrayal of Chica and sounded like I think the character would sound. And Matt Pat as well, I think was a perfect fit for Toy Bonnie. No complaints. Did not take me out of the movie at all, which is kind of what I was worried about. If you're a FNAF fan, you are going to love this movie. There is a boatload of Easter eggs references, which I won't get into until we get to the spoiler section. But I think what this movie also does well is for people who aren't really a fan of the series. There is a lot of helpful exposition in this movie that kind of explains things, I think, better than the first movie did. Some of the exposition can be awkward and kind of obvious. They're just trying to fill in maybe someone who doesn't fully understand, but I think for the most part they did a pretty good job of explaining some of the lore of the movie. I think people who aren't really a fan of the franchise might like this movie more than they did the first one. The acting in the movie was also amazing. Elizabeth Lail, who is Vanessa in the movie, was amazing. I think by far she did the best acting job. Not to say that anyone else was bad. Abby also was a really good. A lot of times kid actors can be take you out of the movie a little bit. She did a fantastic job. And of course Josh Hutcherson. And of course Josh
Hutcherson
did a pretty good job as well. There was also a decent amount of jokes in the movie, which I was not really expecting. Like most movies, some of them hit, some of them don't. It's up to you. Comedy is subjective, but overall, I thought they didn't throw in too many to kind of throw you off. There's not a whole lot that I can get into without spoiling the movie. All in all, I would say it's way better than the first one. So now we're going to get into the spoiler section. So if you have not seen the movie, time to click off. Just go ahead and bookmark it, save it for watch later. First of all, as I said before, there was a boatload of references in this. The first one that I noticed was Five Nights at Candy's. And if you know me, you know I hate that game. So I wasn't very happy to see that. And even though I did literally just see the movie an hour ago, I probably forgot a lot of the Easter eggs, so don't yell at me when you see the movie. I'm sorry I missed them. Another Easter egg that was towards the beginning of the movie, which I found hilarious, was did the har 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 me is kind of amazing that they had that in the movie. There's a lot. There's like a million Easter eggs in there. Those were just kind of the ones that I thought were kind of obvious, but it would take multiple rewatches to see all the little hidden ones that they have. Again, kind of like the first movie, there's a lot of Easter eggs. So again, FNAF fans like me, gonna love this movie. But what I really want to talk about is the puppet. The puppet is one of my favorite characters in FNAF, so I was really excited to see her in the movie, and they did a great job. The actual puppet doesn't really get a lot of screen time like we see in the game. Instead, the puppet can shapeshift into people, and you probably already seen the image, but it's way scarier than the puppet. The puppet's already scary. It is terrifying in the movie. It is by far the scariest part of the movie. I also do like sort of how Charlotte was handled in this. What is very different about the game, at least to my knowledge, is she wanted to kill all the parents. I don't know too much about the lore, but what I do know is in Henry's speech, it made, you know, Charlotte would lift others up. It didn't sound like it fully fitted the character, but they did explain it pretty well because Vanessa said that she was stuck in her last emotion before she died, and that was hatred or something like that. And then when she was crying for help, all the adults were ignoring her, saying go away pretty much, which made Charlotte hate all the parents, which then made it her goal to kill a whole bunch of parents. A little bit different. I'm not a big fan of the direction they went, but it made sense. Another big twist is that Michael Afton is the bad guy, which that's crazy to me. That's very different. When Michael Afton is first introduced into the movie as a security guard and he said his name was Michael, kind of knew who he was, obviously, but he does act very weird in the movie, and it made me think that there was something a little bit off about him, but I didn't think he was going to be the bad guy behind like pretty much everything. So I thought that was a pretty good twist. Again, since all the lore is kind of already known, I like that they're taking different twists and like changing the story a bit. Even though it's different than the games, it's doing something you don't expect, which can be nice for, you know, us who already kind of know the story, just to change it up a little bit. I think that's fine. It definitely took me as a surprise to find out that he was the bad guy. Speaking of twists, this movie really gives you the unexpected. If you told me that the second movie would consist of the FNAF 1 animatronics beating up the toy animatronics, I would not believe you. Some people might not like it. Again, I don't agree with all the creative decisions that they made, but I do think changing it up can be a good thing. I mean, the biggest thing that I can say as a FNAF fan is I was full grin smiling throughout the movie. I loved every second of it, and I am 1,000,000,000% biased. I do not care. I loved the movie. I will be seeing it again. Absolutely. Whenever I make these videos, there's always something that I knock myself over for forgetting to say. But man, I just loved it so much. It's great. Go watch it. Go support them. So make sure when you watch it, wait for the credits to go, watch the post-credit scene, and then after that, still stay in the theater. There's something else after. You're welcome, because I walked out and I missed like half of it, so you can thank me by subscribing, please. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, morning, evening, night. Please go watch the movie. Trust me, you're gonna love it. Bring your mom, dad, family, everybody. Even if they don't understand it, I think they're gonna have a good time watching this movie.